What's the appropriate age for players to take leadoffs and pitchers holding runners on? Does a 10U pitcher need to worry about that or simply try to throw the ball hard 4 strikes? Yeah, the latter. The flip and ladder is absolutely the answer here. And the point that I'm getting at here is that when you start to ask this question about like, hey, what age should we start to introduce, leadoffs and holding runners on? I truly, and I mean truly, do not understand why in the last decade or so we have accelerated the path of that. Because look, talked about this before, and this is not me again trying to be the doom and gloom guy, but like when the average age that kids quit is around 10 and a half, and the average time that they spend in the game is around 3 to 3.5 years. If the idea is we need to introduce holding runners on and leadoffs early because we have to get them ready, the reality is that most of them are quitting by that point anyways. So what are we getting them ready for? How do the players benefit by making the game closer and closer and closer to what real 90-foot baseball is on a small field? Are these concepts, are they that difficult to master and to implement? Well, no, a little bit of a learning curve. If we introduce these concepts, does that make the game look more like real baseball? Well, no, because the catchers aren't good enough. So if they're leading off, and you think about pitchers are quote unquote holding runners, I think it's entirely possible that one of the things you could be doing is having kids cultivate a set of throwing mechanics that are really abbreviated and very pushy, because all you're trying to do is to reduce the time from when that kid gets their front leg up to when the ball gets to the pitcher. I'm sorry, to the catcher. Because you're trying to constrain the running game. Because the catchers can't constrain the running game broadly because they're not good enough and they don't throw the ball hard enough. And the field isn't small. Not small enough. So, yeah, we're doing leadoffs and we're trying to hold runners, but like, is that effective? I mean, I guess I don't pay a lot of attention to this stuff because it makes me feel sick to my stomach. Has anybody seen like a 10U team, a 9U team that's like really, really good at holding runners? And if that's a thing that they've gotten to, then consider like the cost benefit analysis or just like the opportunity cost of learning those things. It's going to take time. Does it take a lot of time or take a little bit amount of time? If it takes a lot of time and you're starting this at 9 or 10, what are we giving up to do that? And why? If it doesn't take a lot of time to teach, why do we have to install it at 9 and 10? Is it that hard? Does it really take a kid multiple years to understand the fundamental concepts of holding runners on in a relevant fashion? Does that take years and years and years to teach? I don't think so. So I don't know, man. John, what's the appropriate age? Look, man, I spent 14 or whatever years, 13 years coaching Little League Baseball. It's going to be hard for me to not say that, like, I don't think any of this stuff matters until you get to 13. I don't, and I've seen some 11 and 12-year-old baseball with leadoffs and trying to hold runners that was an absolute S show. If you pick up what I'm putting down, it's not like the real game. It's just free passes because the kids are bad at this stuff. And again, a lot of this comes back to the catchers not being able to control it, not out of intention, not because they're choosing to be bad, because they're too small and their arms are too weak and they're not good enough at the skills, so they can't constrain the running game anyways. I don't know, man. It's going to be hard for me to have my answer not be like, look, this just stuff is not a thing that you need until 12.